record to this computer because we want to be able to apply Tanuj's animated intro. Good. All right. We're 4 minutes after. Let's kick it off. Everybody has the meeting minutes. Here's the meeting minutes in the chat. Welcome. Thursday, the 13th, a few days before KubeCon EU. So there's so much to do. All right, so Josh is with us. Shriti. Lee is here. Dhruv, Tanuj, Nikhil, Ayush, very good. Kaleche. And then maybe we'll have a couple of others join. But we've certainly got a big enough crowd to go talk about a bunch of stuff. And then good deal. And then Ayush, have you been on this call before? Have we gotten a chance to say hi and?
Yeah, no, probably. Like this is my first time I'm joining a community call, and like here's like in this community, it's pretty involved, I guess. Like, and that's why for the first few notifications of the meet, I was like busy with other things. So this time I was free, so I said, let's try this as you had put me in the website groups.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty like great to be in, and I want to try this out. So, but I might be not regular in here, but I will try to be regular.
Nice. Yeah, thanks for that. We're happy to.
Great welcome from your side, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, nice. It's good of you to set expectations, by the way. There aren't necessarily that many folks that join that will kind of signal up front, like, hey, I might just be an observer for a while, or I might be able to do, participate for a bit, but then step away, maybe come back, maybe, and all that's fantastic. Like all of the above is great. People have other things going on. Or sometimes it's just not that interesting. And then sometimes, and I'm actually hoping Manish will join today. He's a great example of, he's not on just yet, but when he does, he's a great example of someone who'd joined the community. I don't remember now, but a long time ago. He'd done a couple of things, and then something caught his eye, or he had more free time, and so he's back making waves. And yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Yeah, sometimes Ayush, I think we end up scaring people off because
No, I don't think so, because I pretty much liked it, like the constant reminders if you have free time, so you can get back to the community. And right now I'm exploring, so I liked it. So I don't know about others, but
it worked. Very good. Cool. Well, then just by way of quick sort of introduction for Ayush, but also, maybe mostly for Ayush, I guess, just looking at the folks who are on the call. And that's to say that actually everyone, I don't know if you've counted them up, but it's, I think it's 5 websites that all of you are maintaining and advancing and creating. So 4 of them we use Jekyll to build the static sites. And this 5th one, which has been a lot of the topic of conversation of this particular call, the 5th one has been a focus, and it's on the next generation of the Layer5.io site. So we end up calling it like Layer5 NG. And that one is divergent in technology. We're we'd really like for the next version of Layer 5 IO to be um, um, built on some tooling that many people can use concurrently, and that it isn't necessarily the case that all of the content needs to be contributed through Markdown and through Git. There'll be a number of people that are here or people that are in the community that are going to contribute articles or videos to the site that aren't necessarily Git savvy, and that's fine. And so we want to facilitate for them being able to participate. And so the Layer 5 next generation, that the next generation of this site will be based on Gatsby, which isn't necessarily easier unto its own. As a matter of fact, it's a little more difficult, but based on Gatsby so that it can scale quite a bit, we can build the site pretty intelligently and somewhat quickly too, but also on use of Strappy to facilitate having a content management system so that people can sign in, kind of like WordPress a little bit, sign in, publish content in a visual way, kind of preview it there live. We do have previews actually for, and I think all of you are aware of this at this point. We have previews for all the websites. So whenever pull request is made, one of the automated build systems, one of the automated actions or workflows that will happen is that the sites are connected to Netlify, and Netlify will build a preview of the changes that are inside of that particular pull request, which is really just, we're using that as an order of convenience so that anyone who's looking to help review and provide feedback on that PR can just click the link without having to check out that branch, compile the static site, preview it, do those things. We are not at the moment using Netlify as the deployment target, meaning this preview site is just a temporary site. You can tell in the URL, it's deployment preview number 608, which is the number of this pull request, number 608. When this pull request is merged, however, it won't be hosted on Netlify. It'll be hosted on GitHub Pages. And I guess last thing that I'll say sort of generally, and I think this is useful for a couple of us, is that, well, we're doing something a little bit out of the norm, I would expect, in this repository, in the Layer 5 repository, which is the repository has the source code for 2 websites. The website that you see as you navigate through the folders here, this is the current website that's based on Jekyll. And this is its code. And all of that's under the master branch. And so we're currently publishing the current website under master branch. As all of you are working, well, both on enhancing a little bit of the current site, but mostly focused on the next version, the code for that, it's stored in the same repo, but it's under this branch. And this is a long-lived, I guess you'd call it a feature branch, but it's a long-lived branch that when you switch to it, like the entire code base, more or less, is switched out. And so this is Gatsby here. Cool. Is Mukul on? Was he on briefly and then jumped off? Maybe. Okay, he sounds like he's not on. But okay. Cool. All right.
Hey, hi Lee.
Oh, he is. There he is. Hey, how are you?
How are you?
Ah, I'm
I'm
in process of caffeinating.
yeah, I'm good.
Well, I'm gonna try to be quiet a little bit. I was chatting with Shriti, who helped us get organized for this call, which is awesome. Um, about I talk a lot on the other calls. First of all, I talk a lot on the other calls in general, but I also talk a lot about shutting up, and and so I've been asking Shriti if she might like to, as she's been helping organize us some, to help organize us throughout the call a bit as well. And so, for my part, I have a goal to try to work toward shutting up, which it's a good thing my wife isn't on the call because, yeah. Uh, on that, yeah, the first one, Josh, I think this is yours, man. Do you want to? Or no, Tanuj, this is yours. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the part for the blog filtering part. So basically, we filter the blog according to the tags. Uh, if you could go to the deployment.
And by the way, take the ball from me anytime that any of you want to. You don't have to ask, just, you know. But otherwise, tell me where to click, whatever you want to do.
Go to the blog section, the below tags part.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you can click on any of the blogs and it will be filtered according to that.
Now I see where the blog list went. Okay. Nice. So you,
Okay, that's the thing I was saying on the chat.
yeah. Sometimes, sometimes it's pretty obvious. I don't know what's going on. All right. So again, I'm going to try to shut up. It's Tanuj. Sounds like the PR is up for review, and you're soliciting some feedback. The big feature of this PR is the ability to assign literally any one or more tag values to a given post, and then those will, if I were to assign a net new tag, like, you know.
Yeah, it will automatically create a tag. You
Okay.
can assign any tag.
By the way, just to clarify slightly, in Jekyll, like if we had a similar system, which another contributor had made some time ago, but we just, but we're not going to merge, is that making a tag was, just as simple as including a new value in a post. And I know that's what you just said just now as well. Like, it's as simple as that. My question is there, we've been talking about Strappy and trying to understand Strappy a little bit. And by the way, maybe, just for Ayush, Ayush, actually, random curiosity. Have you ever come across Strappy.io?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you're in.
Okay, in what context were you referring? Like,
Yeah, just like whether or not you'd ever used it, or the actual, not the website, but this is a content management. It's like the front end of WordPress, if you will. It's
okay.
it's a UI for editing blog posts, and it marries up
Okay,
with,
I got.
yeah. So
So it's kind of framework or which helps you deliver the content. So you just just like what WordPress does, you want to include it in.
Yeah, right. It marries up with Gatsby. It kind of treats Gatsby as a data source in some respects. That's a little bit of an inaccuracy that I'm talking about, but it helps you get your information architecture a bit better. And it's actually that information architecture. That's why I brought up Strappy, because I think kind of Dhruv and Tanuj, what I was trying to ask is when a new tag, when a tag is created, quote created, this is kind of my question, is like, is that just an ephemeral thing that happens just because there's a given value on a post, or is there a bit more persistence than that about this metadata when we're using Strappy? Like, would we need to create a data model around tags so that we can, when we bring in Strappy, if we also bring in Postgres, I think?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Do we need to define tags as a data model in Strappy?
Would be better, and usually people do create tags in Strappy for a particular type of content which they want to have. And also one of the thing I thought of using tags was we can have all the blogs in one place, and we can also include tags like Layer5 or suppose Meshri or SMPS, and we can filter out those blogs and just fetch that data to different websites altogether if we have those tags along with the stats.
Meaning there are certain tags that would be public, and for a viewer's use, someone who's reading, they would want to filter between them. But then there might be other bits of metadata that are, essentially tags, but that are intended for us to leverage the content in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. To filter out sort of blogs which we want to use for certain websites. It's like if I have a blog which I want to show in the Layer5 website itself, and I also wanted to show in the SMPS site also.
Oh yeah.
So I can like tag both of them. It would be not visible to the public people, but yeah, we can like fetch them to different sites altogether.
And this next thing that I'm going to say is a little ways off, but a similar concept can be considered if the site itself is running on a service mesh. The service mesh can take a look and see what tags are associated to a post that someone is pulling up. And while it won't be, and can do some things based on that, or based on who's looking at it. So related to that concept is the notion that there are categories as well. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess the way in which I would articulate the difference between a tag and a category, probably kind of two things. One, that categories are thought out in advance and statically defined, something that you don't necessarily often create a new one of. That the category, like this development, it might, depending upon how we lay out the site, it might end up showing up in the query string. And it looks like right now I'm on the tag open source, and we've got /blogs/tag/open source, which is interesting because if categories show up like that as well, then really the only difference between a tag and a category is the notion that they're displayed differently, and that one is premeditated, the categories, and the other one, I mean, they're both premeditated, but one of them is a bit more ad hoc. Like, Tanuj, do you know what happens if we have tons of content and a real lack of consistency with the use of tags, and we end up having 150 of them? do the most popular ones just bubble to the top?
Check exactly. I don't think I sorted it. I have to sort it according to the number of things.
It seems like that would, does that, what does everyone think? Like if there's too many tags to show, which tags should we display?
So if this right, if we see on the right portion, there is a small view again for the blogs. So if that is removed, then there would be enough space for all the tags to display, I guess. Latest post.
Oh, okay. Let me throw you this curveball. There are 5,000 tags. So considering that many, how do you choose which ones to display?
Yeah, so then definitely that's only the like popular one should be.
That makes sense. So it's sort of like select the top 10 most popular and then to cut off the rest.
Yeah, actually, if we do so, means we can do it with 5 or 10, and then people can sort using the categories part. Then actually the categories part will be handy. It will be useful. Otherwise, it won't be of any use if we show all the tags.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting thing actually. And in some respects, Dhruv, as you dig into Strappy more, let's get this question written down. And that is, if people who are empowered to author a blog post, if they are also empowered to randomly make up a tag, will Strappy facilitate? And by the way, Dhruv, I'm going to let you type it in. But if are we able to restrict the number of tags that they would create? Does Strappy like auto suggest pre-existing popular tags to help people,
I don't think we will be able to auto suggest them, but yeah, we can have a certain list of already created tags, and they can create their own new tags. They can have a list of tags which are already in use, but I don't think we can auto suggest them tags.
so when they, okay, so are you sure that someone who's authoring a new post, they cannot create a new tag?
They can create a new tag. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, they can.
Yeah.
And so do we have any control? Okay. Yeah, that's good. It's also bad if it's not like suggesting to them. Maybe if it shows them the number of tags, number of instances of that tag, that might be helpful. So they choose a more popular one. Anyway, not a big deal.
I guess what if you want, we can have like two separate categories of tags. One which are already predefined and the administrator can only change, another which are which anyone can make any change.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, kind of like a curated tags, or in some respects, it's kind of like the categories.
I think we just define categories and tags. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, probably. But your point about having additional metadata for any given post can be really useful, particularly if, I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion yet, but it's possible that as we get into Gatsby here and we find that it's so much more powerful than Jekyll, and we get more and more comfortable and more content, that it's possible that the other sites might start to go towards Jekyll as well. And so then it's feasible that we might reuse some of the same data, some of the same source.
Yeah, probably. I think that's the main reason we are using Strappy, right?
Yeah, that we're using Strappy. Yeah, I think so. The other reason is, so Sudeep, specifically as a person, he's a good example of Well, he's a cloud architect at Ericsson and an intelligent individual, although I think he's made more Git commits in the short time that he's been with us than any other time. And so my point is, like, even though he's a technologist in some respects, Git, you know, and he's contributed a post, it would have been helpful to him if we had Strappy.
Okay, and I guess front end based for them to author one of the post. Got it.
Of the latest post here, the intention is just that we will literally show the latest posts, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Do we, I think, was one of you going to look into the possibility of member profiles such that, you know, Sudeep Batra is a hyperlink?
That's an open issue for the current website.
Got it. And who is the issue for?
Actually, no one is assigned it. I think Neil was interested in taking up means Pratay.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. And another part, I just had a thought. If we have the latest post section in the blogs page, then in the nav menu it won't be useful. Means it will be repetitive or duplication of data. Means we are showing two latest blog posts in the nav menu as per the new nav menu that we are making up, the mega menu, and same we are showing latest blog posts. Though we are showing two of them in the nav menu and 4 or 5 of them in the latest in the page itself, but still it's duplicacy kind of. I think it's total. It's not sure. I think.
Sure.
I agree. It'll be redundant.
Also, like in the blog grid, already we are sorting these blogs on the recent things. So, like even here, this latest post won't be any useful because already they are sorted by the date they are posted.
That makes sense on this page. So by the way, I'll force you guys to do this on that piece of feedback. I guess that's probably, maybe that's for Tanuj. If Tanuj, maybe if you're focused on this area, but we should make sure to capture that. Like ideally whoever is giving the feedback, like make that suggestion, and then hopefully Tanuj would take it. To reiterate that, on this page, this layout, right? It doesn't necessarily make sense to just repeat the same. You know, you'll have the same things repeated. On this layout, having the latest post makes sense, right?
It does, but just a scenario here. If the current blog is the latest blog.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, so that makes sense. So yeah, we just need to include that logic. You should always cut it off the top. And actually, the logic isn't about. The logic is just, and we have this logic today in Jekyll, which is take a look at the title of if the title of this page is in your record set here, then don't list it. So sorry to interrupt, I'm Shriti, but yeah, so it's not about date or anything. It's about, am I already showing this post? Then don't list it. Okay, and then Nikhil, were you saying it didn't make sense somewhere else?
No, means I meant that we shouldn't be showing it in the sidebar.
Okay.
We are showing it in the navbar. That's enough.
Okay. Okay. The nav bar.
Currently we are not, but we are going to implement that.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Actually, okay. I'm glad you brought it up, because what we would show in the mega menu up top, this should be not dynamic. It should be updated. I mean, if it's going to be dynamic, it needs to be it can be okay if it's dynamic so long as we do what Drew said, which is that we would create a special tag that says, featured or mega menu or some tag, and such that only specific items would ever show up there. Otherwise, it will always be hand curated what's in the mega menu.
The point that Dhruv brought up means on the discussion that was going on earlier. If a blog has means there are many tags for a blog, or a blog is something like a trending one, if something like that, then we can have two options. Like we can have the trending two blogs on the blog page, but I guess that would require ML, if I'm not wrong.
Well, we should be able to get something like that from Strappy. Like it should have a hit count for us.
If we can have that from Strappy, yeah, true. If we can have
hit count in the sense how many people have visited the site itself.
Yeah.
I don't think
Means
I haven't seen it in Strappy. I can look into it, but I don't think that there is something which counts the viewpoints.
Okay.
But I can still look into it. I'm
Cool.
not telling this for sure.
means yeah, we can have two options if we are doing that part. Means if there is some feature that through which we can show the trending two blocks on the mega menu, then we can have the latest blog section in the blog page. Otherwise, if we don't have such feature, then we can remove the latest blog part and show the two latest blog posts in the mega menu, whichever way it works. We can do that.
Oh, cool. I will look into it. And Lee, one more thing. Right now, the Strappy is not connected with our Gatsby website itself because I didn't have a web, so it didn't make sense to connect my local host to the Strappy server itself. So, if you can give me an access, and I can start this process because right now I'm just modeling all the components which we are going to have on Strappy.
See, I'm glad that you said it like that because I took it last time to mean that the instance of Strappy that you had to go away, and that you needed some credentials to be able to stand up a new instance of Strappy. But it's actually the case that it sounds like you still have Strappy, but because our data source, because we're not running.
I cannot connect a webhook right now to Gatsby website.
That's because it's not published, or
I'm running Strappy on my local server itself.
Oh, okay. So it is the case that you need a place to deploy Strappy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
right now making the models itself, which we are going to use. But if we want to connect it to the Gatsby sites itself, then we need to have a server itself.
Got it. Yeah, I didn't follow through on my action item from last week.
And
So
also I would need a bit of your help while I was making the components for the landscapes itself. We can discuss it later, I guess. While I'm building, I can just show you the link once it's deployed.
So last discussion on the block part. Since currently we are having the two features like block list and block grid, which was removed, means the on sorting the or using the seeing the blocks using the tags, we will be able to see them using in a list manner, but in general we are seeing them in a grid manner. So what I was pointing in the PR that Tanuj created was if we can have a option or a button like so on the left part, left top left hand side in the block page, which will have two options, one for the grid and one for the list, and we'll alternate the view for that. And if we have the grid selected, then on sorting the blogs using the tag should also show the blogs in the grid manner. And if we have the list view selected, then sorting should also show them in the list manner. Does that make sense, or it's
Yeah, I understood. And yeah, for my part, or I was trying to be quiet so that others could weigh in.
It does make sense. A lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a priority, but it makes sense that you can switch back and forth. It's one of those things that, like, in some respects, having that ability, the ability to control that ourselves, is, and I guess we already have that ability because we can lay out the pages in different ways. That's important because we need to have things like news, and news needs to look different than a blog post, even though it's going to be about the same thing. And yeah, Nikhil, to what you'd said is that I'm not sure that we would want to have a control on the left-hand side because, or, at least not down here, because if you're talking about like right above the post, I could see that, although people are pretty used to seeing either the author title, the date, or some share buttons, like to like tweet it or share it on LinkedIn or something. We might be.
Yeah, not in the blog page. Means on the index page it will be on the blog index where all the blogs are listed.
So
in
like
this page.
Okay, so like on the right hand side somewhere.
Either right or left, whichever suits better.
Like left, like.
Because currently we are having a lot of white space between the nav menu and the blogs heading. It can be reduced a bit.
Oh, up here. Right. Yeah, and if the icons are, I mean, if they're just little icons, they're.
Yeah, correct. It will be icons. It means big rectangle, which will be divided in two parts. One will be for list and other one will be for grid.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. It's a good feature to have.
I mentioned that in this viewer as because we are having that code to view the blogs in the list page. So we'll be removing it if we merge that PR. So if we keep the code commented out, so that it's not a feature that's a priority, but it can be used later on and the code will be available to us. So that won't be a lot of hard work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Some of us are not a fan of keeping commented code around. I'm more of a fan of that because you're throwing away what you might bring back later. Which part, by the way, which part of the code is it that has that feature, the ability to switch between views?
We don't. Means there was an option in the menu, blog grid, blog list, but the blog list has been changed to the tags when we have sorted. I guess Tanuj will be able to explain it better.
Yeah. It was just a hyperlink, right? In the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the menu.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, great. And that makes sense. So right now, Tanuj, I guess maybe if we go look at Josh's stuff, maybe that's a good place to pick up that conversation about.
Okay.
I mean, I guess we should comment out the blog list because we are going to use it somewhere. As long as, and if it's easy enough, we'll use it somewhere. It sounds like we won't use it in the mega menu, but we might use it. Yeah, okay. Okay, good. So with that, Tanuj, maybe just the last update is to comment out the list, but then I think we're good to merge.
Okay.
Here's one thing is that, so the posts in the file system, they're categorized by date, and they have the date in the name.
Yeah, I should remove that. You told me. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, okay, and we have the date up here. Okay, yeah, yeah. We will get better SEO out of more descriptive things. So, like instead of 2020, it would be Istio or whatever. But there's probably a little bit of a further discussion there. But I think at least starting with what you and I had chatted about is good. Okay, Josh, are you next? Yeah. Do you want to take control of the screen?
Actually, I had to switch to Windows because there was some issue with Zoom on Linux. So I think you can,
Okay.
because I've already sent all the 2 PRs on draft. First,
Nice.
I think we put the smaller one, like the feature image. So if you open a blog, any blog, if you open the first blog, yeah.
Oh, I see.
This is currently I have like just made the background and all the div part. So there's the logic is left for like importing the image from the blog, like the address from the blog itself. So I've kept it in draft. So is it like okay? Like currently all will have the same image. So is it okay? Have I display it like this one?
I'm gonna try to bite my tongue because let others give feedback.
I guess the yeah, Shruti, good.
Thank you. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not opposing it exactly, but it's not very aesthetic if you're going for that.
Okay, so like there is another option if we shift the image to the top, like the heading, the title would be after the image, and but that would create the page more longer bit. So I didn't like I tried that thing even, but that was making it more lengthy page.
Uh, the image that you're using currently is kind of more means it doesn't have a lot of background colors, right? It's a compact image and it's an SVG. So if we do use that image, then we can do one thing that we can move the tags and the author part to a bit lower side, means after the image in the left and right side, just above the search bar and on the left side below the above the start of the block, so that they are visible, as the font size of the tags and author is a bit lower, much lower than the heading. And other than that, we have some blogs like which have a feature image which is completely dark, like one with uh, the heading started with HTCTL or something like that, which has a yeah. Just take example the community bridge feature image. It's though we don't have to get an idea of that, but it's a completely dark background, and it will. I think it may look odd. I don't know, as I'm just guessing.
I don't have all the context for this, but is it necessary to have the image here?
It's
There
helpful.
was an
It
issue
provides
in the last meeting.
yeah, it provides the user continuity. It's kind of weird actually. When you're like here and you're like, oh, I want to read this thing, and you click and it's not there. You're like, oh, okay, I guess that's where I am. It's yeah. It is good to keep the same teacher image. The idea is a pretty good idea. It layers in. We're already using opacity or transparency in a few different places, and it's in part what gives the site a level of sophistication. Some of the challenges, though, is mostly with the tagline and the author line, particularly with a more complete and darker background that, to your point, Josh, you wouldn't necessarily want to stack the title and the tagline entirely beneath it, because then you're really stretching the page out. But instead, this is pretty bold and thick, the title. You could potentially reduce the opacity of this a little bit more. So yeah, it's even more faint, maybe, just so that the title always sticks out. And I think there's probably like two things that could be done. One is that you could take the tags, like Nikhil was saying, and it's just a small line that could actually fit in between the white space that we have. So it could actually.
One question here. Couldn't the tags and the name go at the end of the blog post?
Yeah, that's a thing. Good.
If we have to move the tags and the profile part, then we can like remove it from the model, because I've currently made the image to serve as a background for the this header division.
Sure. So there's yeah, I mean, it's a good, like, this is a cool, we do want to have the feature image. It doesn't mean that the feature, yeah, we're here. What's another good here? Here's here's a random example, highly relevant site for us. I wonder what's going on with my, called the New Stack. Oh, look, how Service Mesh amplifies the business value. That's funny. That's funny. Every time I use them as an example, there's like Service Mesh all over it. Anyway, so here's a post, yeah. So they had the feature image, and then they have the feature image, and actually they had an overlay and a transparency here, and then, okay. So that's a podcast they have. Let's go to a blog post. All right, and I just have it fully, full. So the thing is like, if you don't show that, and if you show a different picture, you're like, you're like, what? Where did I go, and what's going on? Yep, it's okay to list. As a matter of fact, you would ideally have the author at the top and the bottom. Generally, you want to have it at the top much more than you do at the bottom. We can, at some point, we will potentially have a small author profile, potentially at the bottom as a module. Ouch. Tags. The tags are, okay. All right. Let's take some feedback if we could. So one piece of feedback is it would be nice to have related posts at the end. And I think, Tanuj, this is probably for you.
Yep.
Related posts. Josh, yeah, it might be good to continue to iterate to see if we can get this to work. And that would just be to, grab the tag. Like, as a matter of fact, you might be able to remove the tags from here, potentially, just to get it whittled on down to like something that's pretty consistently small. And that would be the author. You might even be able to remove the by. I mean, you can leave the by if you want, but anyway, you can squeeze the author's name between somewhere fairly consistently, I think.
Right, and I'll give you a preview of what can be done. So if that's to be pulled it down, then it could be, yes, it could be possible. And it's like, if it would be, we'll see and go and how it sees and how it looks.
Another, this isn't a trick, but just another part of what would become a little bit of a framework would be that we might be able to have people who are authoring the site, or you might be able to just use Gatsby to interrogate the image and characteristics of the image to determine whether or not it's light or dark. If we can't do that, we could have that as a piece of metadata in the blog post or just associated to the image that identifies it as light or dark. And based on that attribute of the image or of the feature image, we would either have a light or dark heading to contrast. Potentially, if the opacity of that feature image is so light anyway, then that doesn't really make sense. You probably always are going to have a dark heading.
Yeah, so like for the current heading, if you see, then it will be visible if any dark in any dark background, it will be clearly visible because of the size and the color of the current heading. So if we wish to change it, then yeah, like we will have to see if the background image is light or dark. But if we are using the current heading, then I don't think so. Like it would be an issue if the background is light or dark, because the opacity is currently I have kept very low, like it's 0.15 something.
That makes sense. When we, so yeah, disregard what I just said. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, Lee, go ahead. I will say it and then.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I think means it's just my perception that the blog pages are meant to be long. Means the blogs have content, so people will scroll down to see the content. So even if we move the image after the heading, and if the size of the page increases a bit, like about 400, 200 pixels, then I don't think that would be an issue, because anyway it should be long so that as people will read it and scroll down. So just adding one more click of scroller won't affect anything.
I'm not. Yep. Good. I don't know if there's any additional commentary needed. I don't know that there's a right or a wrong answer per se. Like, something maybe. It sounds like we need a little bit of an iteration and to try it out a couple of ways. See what.
So I'll do one thing. I'll like the 2-3 ideas that have been suggested. I will try it and drop a video on Slack channel, and like everyone can give their reviews there.
Nice. And Shriti, good feedback, or rather, good of you to say that it doesn't strike you that like it doesn't sit well. And then the more that you can characterize the aspects of like what's not working, all the better. Was some of that just like the lack of contrast, or like?
I think it's because some part of the text is not visible, and it's just annoying at the first look, at the first glance. Really good work, Josh. I'm really not shooting it down.
No. Yeah. And no, I didn't take it like that either. Or like, by the way, I wasn't saying, rather, I was just saying like, that's like, as a matter of fact, I'm glad that all of you are comfortable to say like, no, actually, I don't, that's hideous. Like that's, like, it's good that you guys don't, but rather.
Yeah, it just needs a tiny bit more work, I guess.
Yeah,
no, and that's bad feedback as well. I'm sorry but that's exactly my point. It's like, what needs work is what.
The text needs to be more visible. It either needs to be moved to some other point in a shorter, on a larger font, or it needs to be more visible right where it is. For example, in the current one, there's a primary title and a secondary title, like the text in bold and the text in the smaller font and slightly less bold format. That is not visible or not visible in the first glance, or it's very easy to ignore.
That's an issue with the color of that text. Okay, I'll as I said, I will drop you 4 to 5 previews of all the ideas, and like you can give comments on Slack for that.
That'd be perfect.
Okay, next one. Make a
Oh,
menu.
this is. Oop. Josh, do you want to take us through the mega menu?
Yes, so I would like currently attached the like made some uh, view part. Like I would just in Shivai's work, I added a few things like reduced the width of the mega menu that was initially to the full screen size and made it more dynamic. And also I attached like I made placeholders for the two images or the cards, like as Nikhil stated on Slack. It's more of a card like view, and it's the entire div is clickable, and like yeah, like this the more work has to be done if we talk in sense of the card view as it was being commented. And yeah, as we discussed before when Tanuj was explaining, like if we want to show these images manually, then we can do one thing like the most popular blog of this month, popular blogs of this month, or trending blogs of this month, and like we can keep them changing on every month, or like whatever time scale suits, or if we are trying to make it like manually.
Yeah, that makes sense. That under blog, it does make some sense that that content might update more frequently than some of the other areas, and that we would still want to not be surprised. Like, let's say that Strappy does track hit count. That's nice. And then let's say that someone comes by and reads a particular post a bagillion times, and then we have some posts that we didn't really want showing, that it was okay, but we really wanted to make sure that the one that was announcing the latest release was showing up. We're going to want to have static control over what shows up, and so use of a piece of metadata like mega menu assigned to a blog post, that's the kind of thing that, moreover, when we do that, if over time, if you leave that piece of metadata associated, mega menu, like to like 15 blog posts, we're not going to show them all, but we would have to, you'd either have to go back and curate that, like take them off the posts, or we would just have logic that says, select all the posts that have mega menu assigned, sorted in chronological order by latest first, and then cut it off at 2. Yeah. Nice. That's great. I mean, I think that would work for the blogs. On much of the rest of the things, it's probably, I don't know. We'll as we get into them, we'll see. But so nice thing
Okay,
about
so I had okay, so like you can go on. I have a question. So further question is like for the mega menu, like as we have seen if you can open the sitemap also on the side.
Wait, say it again. Open the what?
Sitemap
Oh,
that we created in, like you have created in the draw.io.
yeah. It just type that into the address bar, or is it there a link?
Not this one, like the one uploaded in the drive, the sitemap that you created.
Oh, I see. Yep. So by the way, everyone on this call should have access to a team drive called Layer5 Sites. And if you don't have access, say so. There's a Layer5 NG folder with this well, I guess it's kind of bad we called it a sitemap, or I called it a sitemap. But yep, here it is.
Okay, so now like another thing to decide is what needs to be a menu or a submenu in the mega menu.
Yeah. Okay. Can we take that as an action item?
Okay.
In part because we're at the top of the hour, and then in part because because that's one of those things you can quietly give thought to. And
yeah, sure. Okay.
Nice. What else?
I guess for this part, it would be better if all of us, means the people who are there in the call, can drop their ideas in the channel itself, so that we will have a cumulative idea.
Sure. Usually that doesn't work, but yeah, usually it takes.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
But
maybe that, yeah, but actually, yeah, either in the chat or the document itself, so that it can be a context for the next meeting. We don't forget.
all right. Well, anybody have something else?
I'll just add a point here. Ishita is busy this week, so if anybody wants to take up those research points and just look into them, that would be good for the next meeting. I'm sure she'd appreciate the help as well.
Good. Hey, hey, Pratya, does this make sense as something to look into?
I think it does make sense because what it is right now, we can work upon that to make it improve further. And yeah, I like to point out one more thing, that you have shown the sitemap SVG, right? Yes. So this is the SVG version of the sitemap. We can have the XML version, and we can keep that on the footer part of the Layer5 PNG site as for now.
Nice. Yeah. When you, yeah, ideally the XML that's available on the site itself is not generated based on our manual curation, because this will no doubt get out of date, but is based on literally all of the blog titles that we include. They should all be included in that XML. There should be a plugin that generates the sitemap.xml.
Yeah, it's an open issue. I haven't configured because it was not needed correctly.
Very good. Tanuj, if you're already familiar with that plugin, do you want to go ahead and turn it on? Or, yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, what else?
So what's there for the next week?
Yeah, like what's the what should we try to attempt by the time that we meet next week? Nice, good. Yeah. By the way, so all of you except for Ayush should walk away with an item, and I say except for Ayush, meaning Ayush, you should take one away too if you want to. But I don't want to. But I know that you were still trying to figure out how much time you have and stuff. So, do you guys want to self-assign? There's like 19 to 25 different things to be done. There's the search plugin. There's the latest posts. There's actually making the categories work. there is, see these little floating things? We should have a little floating, each of the icons, this landscape, the Meshery, not the new performance logo, those can be little floaters, or just logos of service meshes. Like there's all kinds of nonsense to be displaced with our stuff. There's you guys, yeah, do you guys want to start writing down what you think you might focus on for next week?
Actually, before leaving, I would just like to say one thing, that in this the development of this website, though I'm not able to contribute by writing code because of few time limitations, but yeah, I try to do whatever on the PR. Sometimes it may feel like I'm not writing the code, but I'm giving suggestions. But whenever I will get time, I will try to solve some issues that we currently know. So just that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Nikhil, you, I mean, you delivered the landscape on Layer5 IO last week, and then you fixed some critical bugs in Meshery as well. So, yeah, I mean, but yeah, yeah, your help is much needed. The help that you're giving about feedback is fantastic.
Because currently, as I see, mainly Jash and Tanuja are focused on developing an website, so it's kind of a bit lack of manpower. But yeah, we would need to add
Right,
more.
right.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
all right, fair enough. So, for Manish, Mukul, and I think Ayush had to drop. Did anything pop out to you guys as something you might want to try your hand at?
I will be working on that GitHub action.
The GitHub action for?
Yes, for deployment on GitHub pages. That was fine. That was pending. I will be completing this weekend.
Oh, okay. And yeah, and I don't. Okay, and I'm not sure if we're ready for them to be published.
It might seem funny if I like to point it out, but I've seen in many websites they're adding the bottom to top button. It's a component. We can add that in the site.
Makes sense. Yeah, we can give it a shot. Especially on something like the blog page, maybe if it goes on for a long time.
Yeah, for the long ones, the long one pages.
Okay. Does anyone want to try to replace these floating things with some of ours?
Mm, what exactly are we going to means float if we are going to replace?
It would be, okay, very simply, the logos of other service meshes.
Like HTO console, NSM and all, right?
Right.
Good.
So I have a suggestion, like if you could, if you or any one of us can open some issues, because the people in the channel or across GitHub may be like
won't like they will be looking for open issues, and like they would contribute, but they won't be like a part of call, or they won't know what needs to be done. So if you can open up the issues for all the things that we had like discussed today, so like help
I'll
would
do
be
that.
Tanuj or anyone, we need to create a project layout. Tanuj, did you already look into the creation of taking the pricing module and converting it to a features module?
I haven't started it yet.
Okay.
okay. So if this pricing module one is not like anyone is not assigned, then I can try it.
Nice. Nice. And Tanuj, is that all right? Or were you looking forward to that one? Or?
No, it's good. I can continue the work on the blog which I left.
Okay. Nice. Very good. As Josh, if part of looking at that features module component, if you look at a project page layout as well, it might be that, oh, you could take from a pre-existing layout, like let's see, so there's the home classic, home modern, home hosting. Not that these are like significantly different. This home classic, if you imagine that you wanted that this page was going to be about Meshery, or like about the service mesh performance project, like this could work. This type of a layout here could work for a project page, sort of introducing it high level, letting people do a demo, click the demo or go to GitHub or whatever the actions are going to be. And then down below, you start to describe the features and functions of the project. Maybe this is useful. Maybe this doesn't. Maybe it doesn't make sense to have this. But anyway, you might be able to leverage an existing layout and kind of convert it to be. There'd probably be an FAQ about the project.
Okay, I'll try on with this one.
Okay.
Like, there's enough work for the upcoming days now.
Oh, we can keep going, man. We can.
Yeah, like if when's the next meeting? This Monday or Thursday?
Yeah, I was thinking we would revert back to Mondays.
Okay.
If that's okay. Yeah, I mean, and there's only one or two of you that I would hold to the fire on having something on Monday.
Yeah, so I'll finish the a few suggestions in that mega menus and that one, and I'll go on with the projects page after Monday.
Cool. Okay. All right, we're over time. Anyone have anything else?
I don't know if I should say this on the call or not, but I just got a mail that I'm the winner of the RHOSC contest that was held from this March up till June.
Really? Wait. The what contest?
Red Hat open source contest.
I still didn't hear you. Oh, what is it again?
Red Hat.
Red Hat open
The
source.
Red Hat open source contest. That's amazing, Nikhil. Congratulations.
Congrats, Nikhil.
Congrats, Nikhil.
Thank you, everyone. So they will be contacting me for the price and all. Let's see
Oh,
what happens.
don't forget us now when hey, like you know, if you need some help with that prize. You know. Wow,
Sure, sure.
man. All right. Oh man. Yeah.
It was basically I was working. There was a project on Notes app, so I kind of added new features like multi-list and deleting, editing, database incorporation. It uses a different framework of Cordova, so that we can run the same code a website in the mobile as well as on the website. It converts the code to an application.
Say the name of that again. You said you didn't say protobuf.
No, Cordova. That's a
Oh,
framework which converts website code, HTML code, to an application to run it on Android devices or iOS.
nice. Jeez. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. That's pretty neat. Great. Good. All right. Well, you maybe you might have to show us in the community call kind of quick.
Yeah, sure. I'll,
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Well, we're way over time. Thanks everybody. See you all in the websites channel.
Bye.
Okay. Bye guys.
Okay. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
people.
Bye, everyone.